Am I the a-hole for laughing in my mother's friend's face when she told me to go to my room? I, 25 female, don't speak to my mother, like at all. I had to go to my mother's house today to pick up an important document that I left behind when I moved out 7 years ago. As soon as I got to the house, my mother suddenly had a massive emergency and realized that it was apparently her friend's funeral today and she completely forgot about it. I couldn't help but internally roll my eyes, as there is always some drama, hence why I have gone no/very low contact. She asked me if I would watch my two younger brothers, 7 and 11, whilst she went to the funeral, and I said absolutely not. This is my only day off. I have plans, and I have no relationship with them due to my mother stopping them from seeing me for years. I just wanted to get my birth certificate and leave. My mother asked her friend if she would babysit and asked me to stay for 10 minutes until her friend came. I didn't get even the opportunity to say no before my mother left the house. I was seething, but resolved to wait 10 minutes. My mother's friend turned up and started berating me for not agreeing to look after my brothers whilst my mother went to the funeral. I said, I don't have anything to do with my mother. It's my day off work, and I'm under no obligation to look after anyone else's children. My mother's friend then told me to go to my room. I laughed in her face and started to leave the house. She asked me where I was going, and I told her, my room, at my apartment, that I pay for with my big girl job. Because I'm an adult, not a child, and don't ever speak down to me like that again. And I left. My mother has left me loads of messages and missed calls saying I'm an a-hole for the way I spoke to her friend. I do admit I look kinda young, but I'm still not happy with the way my mother's friend spoke to me. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. I actually quite admire your refusal to get drawn in. Absolutely not the a-hole. I have issues with people who talk to even my second graders like this. If Opie were my child, the friend would be getting more than an earful. I hope you enjoy the freedom from having to deal with them, Opie. May it be full of autonomy and independence. Not the a-hole. The audacity to try and send someone else's adult child to their room. I would have laughed too. I came into this expecting her to be younger than 18, and when I read 25, I laughed for like 5 minutes. Even if she was under 18, that person had absolutely zero grounds to tell a stranger what to do in a house that wasn't hers. Had a good laugh though too. I may be the a-hole because my mother's friend didn't know me and may have genuinely thought I was a minor, as I do look very young for my age. It really wouldn't matter. You're not the a-hole now, and you'd have been not the a-hole if you had been a minor. She had no business speaking to you that way regardless. The fact that adults can quite often get away with behaving badly towards children because children don't usually have the ability to do what you did here doesn't mean that their behavior is good. It just means they can get away with it. She behaved like an A and you spanked her. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not paying for my daughter's honeymoon after she canceled her wedding? My wife and I have 3 kids, 36 male, 32 female, and 25 female. We have had agreements with all of our kids that we would help pay for up to $10,000 for their weddings or use that same amount towards a down payment on their first home. Both of our oldest kids picked a down payment option. They both got married and had medium-sized weddings, both under 100 guests. They paid for the majority of their weddings themselves, but we did pitch in maybe $1,000 to $2,000 to each of them to help a bit. My youngest got engaged last year and started planning her wedding, which was scheduled for this October. She told us she would like us to help pay for the wedding instead of a house since both her and her fiancé are more comfortable with apartment living and don't want to put roots down anywhere since they are both young. She had us put deposits down for a venue, caterer, photographer, and a DJ. These deposits totaled over $5,000 and were non-refundable. About 2 months ago, my daughter called to tell us that she and her fiancé had decided to cancel their wedding and get married in a courthouse. She said the wedding planning was too stressful and they would rather just get married legally and spend money on a big honeymoon instead. She said she wants us to take the rest of what we would have paid for the wedding and put it towards their honeymoon instead. She said they want to take an extra long honeymoon, like 2 to 3 months of travel to multiple destinations. I told her that we would not be contributing money to that. I explained that by canceling their wedding, we have lost out on thousands of dollars and gotten nothing out of it due to non-refundable deposits. Mind you, we never questioned any of their choices regarding wedding planning and were not involved in any of the decision-making. I literally just wrote checks to vendors. My daughter is upset and accusing me of playing favorites with her older siblings and for punishing her because she wants something different for herself. I told her that the situations are not the same and that giving her thousands of dollars for her to bum around Europe and Asia for a few months was never something I agreed to. My wife wants to give our daughter a few thousand to try and even things out, but I am firmly against this. The way I look at it, we already gave her thousands of dollars and she decided to literally throw all of that money away. I understand wedding planning is stressful, and if they want a courthouse wedding, that is their choice. But it also wasn't their money that they lost by canceling the wedding. It was ours. My daughter thinks I am being an a-hole about this, and my wife wants to just give her the money to keep the peace. But I feel like that just completely absolves our daughter for what her decisions have cost us. I don't want to pay for her wanderlust after she cost me thousands of dollars. Not the a-hole, but I would encourage you and your wife to inform them that the remaining balance of the money is available to help contribute to a down payment on a home at a future date. This way, you are not playing favorites. You are not punishing her for changing her mind about the kind of wedding she wants. And you are still only using the money for purposes you are comfortable contributing to. Note, I get that you are annoyed at the loss of non-refundable deposits. But you are skating perilously close to an a-hole rating by framing it as she decided to literally throw all of that money away. And I wouldn't be at all surprised if that attitude is what your wife is reacting to. You are succumbing to the sunk cost fallacy. That money would have been gone no matter whether your daughter went through with the wedding or not. The only thing different is that, by realizing that she didn't want the big wedding, she has stopped spending additional unnecessary money. Not the a-hole. She wasted $5,000. No way in hell I'd give her more money. While she had a right to change plans, she doesn't have a right to ask for more money. I don't think she had a right to change plans without reimbursing her parents. She literally threw their money away and felt entitled to do so because it's my wedding. No. You take someone else's money, then use it for the intended purpose, or you give it back. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. Throwing away your money was an a-hole move, and I wouldn't give her more personally. If she had asked for the money for a honeymoon upfront because she wanted to do a courthouse wedding instead, then that's one thing. But to be so disrespectful with your gift and then ask for more? That's just incredibly entitled. I am also curious what jobs they have that they can take a multi-month honeymoon. According to them, this is their plan. Not renew their lease on their current apartment and move in with fiancé's parents post-wedding/pre-honeymoon. Quit their jobs to go on their honeymoon. Use their own savings and my $5,000 to travel cheap around Europe and Asia. Think backpacking and hostels type of travel for 2 to 3 months. Then come home, live with fiancé's parents for a bit while they get jobs and figure out their next steps. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my cousin I don't care she has 3 years to live? I have a second cousin called Jane. She is very close with my parents. We weren't close because she's always been kind of mean to me, but as we live in the same city and my parents often work long hours, she often accompanied me to extracurricular activities by taking the bus with me downtown as she was the only one available. I got her a nice Christmas gift this year with allowance I saved up, so I don't think I've been ungrateful for what she's done for me. I'd also like to note I'm not that young, 16 female. It's just my parents are weird about public transportation because I'm very small and a girl, and my mom was often harassed on the bus when she was young. Jane was unfortunately diagnosed with cancer recently and was given an estimate of 3 years left. Ever since she received the news, she's often done things like cutting in long lines and asking for discounts normally only available to service workers with the phrase, "I've only got 3 more years. We gotta make 'em good." Recently, my parents asked Jane to escort me on a flight to visit my family who lived in another state for 2 weeks. I'd never flown alone before, so the deal was that Jane would fly with me there and show me how things worked, return home without me, and then I would fly home alone after I knew how. My parents covered everything, plus some nice skincare for Jane as a thank you. On the flight, she stretched out her knees and legs onto the seats in front of us. When the person understandably turned around to complain, she used a stupid excuse about the 3 years to live thing again. The person said they were sorry about that, but to please put her legs in her own space. She kicked her legs around a bit and then put them so her knees were resting on the back of the seat in front of us. I told her she was acting childish, and she said that she deserves to be comfortable in her last years of life. I then told her that me and others around her don't care about her living life to the fullest at the expense of others. She was really quiet for the rest of the flight and I feel horrible. I know I could have phrased it nicer, but I was sick of her being a jerk to random people. So, am I the a-hole and how much? Edit. Just so you guys know, Jane really likes flying, so she was very excited to be the escort. She was also visiting a friend in the city. She also takes me on public transport about 1 to 2 times a month. Sorry if this is unnecessary, just trying to answer some questions. Now for the top comments. Not day whole. I am terminal, with about a year, but I don't act entitled to anything. When I'm feeling down or my emotions run high, I spend time by myself so as to not offend anyone else. I am thankful for every single moment and am living life to the fullest, but not at the expense of others. Thank you so much for this comment. OP, this person is one of those who will be missed when they leave. Your cousin is trying very hard to make people not miss her. Not day whole. Like you said, you could have phrased it nicer, but she needed a wake-up call that "I'm dying" is never an excuse to treat others poorly. Hopefully, a reprimand from a 16-year-old will be enough to knock some sense in her. Jane needs to knock that off. She doesn't get to make other people miserable due to her diagnosis. On the other hand, maybe Jane should focus on herself and live it up for the time she has left on Earth. And maybe that means stop being the errand girl for other people. If she's going to take a flight somewhere, it should be to a place on her bucket list. Maybe if she started to focus on having awesome experiences for herself, she wouldn't act this way towards others. Not the a-hole. It sucks that your cousin has only 3 years to live. However, that does not give them the right to treat everyone like dirt. You're right to call them out. It's pretty character revealing though. Like money provides certainty that you'll be okay, this diagnosis provides certainty of Jane's fate. What does Jane do now knowing that she hasn't gotten much time left? Be horrible to others. It's revealing, but hold your horses. This is a teenage girl dealing with a terminal diagnosis. We can call her out for being horrible, but this may just be her initial reaction to figuring out that she's going to pass away. That's heavy stuff. OP or family should talk to her. Last story is titled, "Am I the a-hole for telling my son that I don't think he'll be as successful in life as his sister?" I, 46 male, am the father to 2 children, 19 female and 16 male, with my wife, 44 female. My daughter is entering her sophomore year of college, and I recently posted a picture of her to social media and captioned it with, "My daughter is entering her sophomore year of college. I am so proud of her. She will go on to great success in life." For some reason, this bothered my son. He asked me, "Why don't you ever post anything about how proud you are of me? You always do about my sister." I told him that once he reached certain milestones, I would. He then said, "Well, I've still done things with my life so far, but you never acknowledge those things." I then told him, "Look, son, you are highly intelligent. Your sister is smart. You're smarter. I watched you both grow up and develop, and I'm telling you, you're in the upper echelon. But you're not half as hardworking or conscientious as her, which is why I'm probably always going to be bragging about her more than you. Start applying yourself to life the way you do video games and D&D, and that will change." My wife thinks that what I said to our son was hurtful and unnecessary. I think I was just being honest and trying to give him a wake-up call. I just want him to live up to his potential. Am I the a-hole? Info. Is this part of a plan of systematically demotivating your son? Or did you just feel he needed extra demotivation on this particular occasion? No, just the opposite. He is so intelligent and has so much potential, and it's just frustrating to watch him squander it. He's 16. What is he supposed to be doing with his life right now in your eyes? Right? When I was 16, I also played video games and fooled around with my friends. I managed to graduate college and get a decent job/life. This dad is probably a macho man boomer who doesn't understand D&D or anything about his kid's interest for that matter. You're the a-hole. Poor kid just wanted some acknowledgement from his dad. You can't boast about one child and not expect the other to feel a little left out. Oh, don't forget that he said out loud that the son is smarter than the daughter. Wait to insult both of your children. OP, you're the a-hole. He heard 2 kids in one sentence. You're the a-hole. Are you saying your son honestly has done nothing worth you posting about? How do you know he's so smart? You can't brag about that? Also, do you know that highly intelligent people often have such high expectations placed on them that they need to have escape valves such as playing games, or they self-destruct? Yep, we self-destruct. I'm the technically smartest of 4 kids, but I'm the only one living near the poverty line with bad mental issues, and the other 3 are pretty successful. They/their families and my parents are wonderful. They never give me grief about failing to live up to my potential. never make me feel bad that I don't have money and can't do the things they can do, like international travel for fun. I also don't ask them for money or make them feel bad for having it. If they want to invite me to family dinners at a restaurant they know they'll be paying, but I never invite myself or try to guilt trip them. If something serious happens, I could ask them to borrow money because I don't do it frivolously, and I give them realistic times of how long it would take me to pay them back. Also, celebrating their success doesn't diminish me.